Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Do it live.
Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to another episode of Wired Axcess Podcast. I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. We're part of the Hurrdat Sports Production. To my left, I have Corporal Jeremiah Perales, who also boxes in the WCAP, right?
Yep, that's correct. The World Class Athlete Program.
There we go. And then we have to his left, his father, Servando Perales, who is the man from Victory Boxing, not just club, but community center. And that's a big point of this whole conversation is, you know, you started this a long time ago before he could probably even remember. And the reason that I'm glad that you came in without even being asked, I talked to him a little bit about it, but do you remember his first time ever putting on gloves? And what also you let boxing save you as a man? What does that mean to your family?
Well, man, where do I even start? You know, I think obviously it was 18 years ago when I started Victory Boxing, and he's 22 now. So he was just real little when I first started it, but he was in there swinging away, you know, in the garage. You know, we didn't have much, but all my kids, really, honestly, all of them could have really been great boxers if they would have stuck with it, you know.
Well, and it's not easy, right?
No,
you
it's
know?
A lot of discipline, you know. The world is out there and they're trying to, you know, distract you with all these different things. And there's the party scene, the girls, the drugs, all the different, you know, alcohol, all the things, you know. And Jeremiah was always that one kid that just stayed on the straight and narrow.
Well,
know, so.
I got to meet him freshman year of high school. So very young in his athletic part when it came to the high school realms. Mr. Undersized, but you could never tell because his heart and what he does in work ethic outdoes the final result of what you think he was or who you thought he was. So I had the honor. I was a coach on Omaha South's coaching staff for football. And, you know, Jeremiah, you always stuck out as one that was a leader, but you could tell it was family driven. And I know that was something that's very important to your dad that, you know, sometimes it's, you know, we're so humble, but had the changes never happen by dad to make, you know, Christ and Victory boxing priority, who knows where Jeremiah would be today. And I only say that, you know, I mean, I had a crazy life of where I was kidnapped at a young age. And if it wasn't for my aunt and uncle come find me, like those stories are so real that you don't know who you would be today. Cause I know my biological family is poverty and my dad and mom weren't rich or anything, but they showed me what hard work can get you to be better for your kids and then build the generations as they go. So obviously Victory Boxing started early in your life. What was your first memory of your dad and boxing and how you clutched onto that, you know, realm in the family?
Yeah, so like my dad said, I was young. I was, you know, 4 or 5 years old watching all these fighters come to a garage and they're hitting I think we had a bag on the stick, you know, like we didn't have no hanging bags at the time. But I was just, you know, throwing like the medicine ball at them off the porch. Like I was just being around. I was a kid. But really boxing, I stayed away from. I grew up wrestling and then football, basketball, baseball. I was an athlete, you know that.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just, you know, whatever sport I was in season and just trying to be the best athlete I could be. I remember one time actually, so my uncle Grover, you know, he boxed professionally as well.
Yeah.
And I remember he would take me and his son, my cousin Dominic, we'd take us to the gym, the CW in North Omaha. And I would just go, you know, because my cousin was getting into boxing at the time. I wasn't 10 years old yet. My dad wouldn't let me box until I was 10. So I remember I was like, maybe I can just box with you over here, you know? Oh, my dad found out. My dad went, oh, he was mad. He was like, no, you're going to wait till you're 10. Just like any other kid. So he believed that, you know, you should wait. Which he wanted me to focus on wrestling and other sports. So that's what I did. But when I turned 10, you know, I was in the gym training. And when I finally got the opportunity to, you know, let my hands go and it's clicked.
And of course, you were able to find the control. That has to be one of the hardest things when it does come to being a boxer that can be great, is knowing when to be on and when to control yourself. And I can only say that from instances on the football field. You could have easily let the mouth pop off like other players did. I mean, that was a well-known thing on some of those teams where if it wasn't going South Omaha's way, we can just fight with our mouth and fight with that. What do you think led you to be that strong leader, both on and off the field, when it came to that stuff, and not get caught up in the easy distractions of whether it's social media hate or whether it's even just we just got our butts kicked and people just want to fight about it instead of getting better?
Yeah, everyone hates losing. But just those values I had from my parents, and then also great coaching. I've had great coaches all my life. Just from football, from baseball, from wrestling. A lot of great coaches who just, you got to keep it moving. You got to know how to win. You got to know how to lose. That's important. And me, I've always been, like you said, I was undersized. So I've always been underestimated. So me, I just got to work that, even harder, go that extra length, just to prove myself. So, there's a lot of setbacks, but at the same time, I knew I was always going to come back after that. So
we get through high school. You didn't do much boxing competition during the other seasons, did you? Or what all did you do prior to getting out of high school when it came to boxing competitions?
So even in high school, it's kind of seasonal boxing, just because, I was busy with other, high school sports. Varsity sports takes a lot of time, especially like baseball. But right after high school, I shipped out. I think we graduated in beginning of May, and I shipped out like the 28th of May. So I shipped out straight to the Army, and I had the, that goal of making the boxing team. That's what I had my eyes on. But at the same time, I'm joining Army, so what comes with it comes with it, and I was ready for that.
Well, and that's what I really take a lot of passion in, is sharing stories of athletes that don't get what they deserve and they're serving the country, but they also are learning along the way the self values that you've grown in between the Army and as a father. What was your thoughts when your son wanted to join the service, and you knew that you guys have obviously taught him what you could at Victory Boxing at that time, but he really wasn't following the normal footsteps or your footsteps?
Well, I was so proud when I found out. Actually, the first time that I actually found out was, I think it was that senior night on the football field when they announced it over the intercom there. I think you may have been running for
King, it was a homecoming
king or something.
Yeah, homecoming.
And they announced it, and I was like, wow, this is really happening. He's really doing this, And I had talked to a few prior boxing coaches or friends that have been on the Army team, and they're like, oh yeah, he'll make the team. And so I was surprised, but I was happy, man, that he chose that, because I knew that he would have a career, and not go down the same path. Some of his brothers went, and he wanted to have a future. He wanted to have a career instead of struggle, if you will.
Yes.
Boxing's been tough. Don't take me wrong. It's been tough, but he's accomplished a lot in the 3 years that he's been on the team. So, being ranked in the top 10 and even in the top 5. So it's done wonders for him. I know that. And right before he did ship out, though, he did win the 2019 Golden Gloves. So, and he got most, I think, outstanding fighter. So yeah, he was doing other sports, but he would still, every now and then, he would still compete. But it took, because he wasn't fully active in it and participating in it, he would fall short at that national level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to get it. But now once he joined the Army team, it's crazy how he gets paid to do what he loves to do. And he's winning 2 and 3 fights at national tournaments, And so, yeah, it's a lot better.
Well, and I if I could get from the dad side, because it's hard for myself. My son is the youngest. He's got 3 older sisters, so they're not all football. But of course, I showed him what football can teach him and what it can learn. how do you distinguish, and how hard was it for you as a father to be able to be the coach, be the leader of the boxing club, but also have to be dad and know that his path isn't going to be directly down your path that you were hoping on that one.
Right. Well, it really ultimately in the end, it really is taking that same path, you know, because he reverted back to boxing. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. It was tough, you know, seeing him go. I cried a lot, you know, because he's always been such a great kid, and we've had a good relationship. And I, you know, regardless if it's football, baseball, I don't watch that stuff, but I go because I want to be there because I didn't have that father growing up.
Yes.
You know? And so I wanted to let them know that I'm here. I'm always going to, regardless of what you choose to do, I'm going to be here. So as far as at the gym, he's always been good. I mean, I never had to yell at him. I never had to kick him out of the gym like I've done several other boxers, including one of my boys at one time, you know.
See, and people don't understand. I mean, he was there when we kicked Noah Fan off the field. Like, we kicked him off the field. Like people don't understand. Like, those moments sometimes are the surreal moments where you get caught up in what you do. You get caught up in, I'm coach. I'm not dad.
Right.
I'm coach.
Right.
But what I loved about that situation is the dad of Chris Fant and Noah Fant worked with us on the team. And he told Noah, you're about 18. You need to go talk to him your dang self. And made him be the man that, as you could see, the progression.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you have grown. You have a family now. You're starting to build that up. What was some of the things and sacrifices that you remember going through the end of high school and into moving into the Army that you decided? What was some things that maybe some people take for granted? Whether it's time with family, whether it's being available for that quick call. What's some of those things?
Yeah, so you took a lot. Like I took a lot for granted. Joining the military, like you're away from everybody. You know, basic AIT. You know, it goes. They got your day planned out from the day to day. So that's not that hard. But when you're actually, you know, at your duty station, living by yourself, you know, you're away from your family, your parents, your siblings. You know, at that time I had nieces and nephews, you know, real young. So you don't get to see them. You don't get to just, oh, hey, this weekend, you know, let's go out to eat, or, you know, having dinners at your mom's house. Like, you don't have nobody really. I mean, you make some friends in the military, of course, but it's different, especially when I'm so family orientated, you know, like.
Was it also hard to come back and see some of your friends not be who they could have been or who they're succeeding? Because I only say that because my brother was in the Navy and I watched him come back, you know, after his first deployment, and the friends are there, but they're really, it's more of, if you don't have a lot in common like you used to. I mean, those used to be your boys where you're always at the games, you're always getting. Well, now their getting's different than yours, and yours is on a mission. Did you have any surreal moments with any of that, where even you had to maybe just say, you know, man, we're until you get things straight, we're gonna have to, and you don't know names, but obviously those are important moments for even your self growth, because like you said, you're by yourself and you gotta make those harder decisions.
Yeah, like coming back home. I mean, you know, you still got some of those friends that are like family who, you know, will come see you, but then you got other people who are like, oh, you know, if I see you around, you know, if I see you around, they're doing their own thing. I get that. But I can honestly say a lot of my friends here, they're doing good things. They got families, you know, some of them have kids, some of them are married now, got good jobs. But obviously, you know, there's others that fell off. Just we were close in high school, but, you know, now we're going to separate ways. And maybe they didn't get to what, you know, they wanted in those years, you know, in high school and stuff. And I don't know. I think getting out of Omaha was good for me. I think it was the best opportunity I could have, you know, ever taken.
Well, and while you bring up Omaha, obviously South High is hard to have kids go through to get to goals on certain levels. If you're looking for the music level, if you're looking for the science technology, but sometimes on the sports things, it's just of them learning life. What was that like? And what kept you guys at Omaha South as parents with your kids?
I think it was just convenient, it was close. We live in South Omaha, we both are alumni, and so I was just close.
They didn't want me to go to South.
We realized
they didn't want me to go to South.
Well, I mean, we didn't have the money, obviously to send you to prep. Everybody comes there and says, but man, you're going to shine wherever you're at, man. We know already your mind is set. You're not going to get involved in that scene or that scene. So we try to get him involved in as many, like my daughter, man, she just graduated. She's her first year in college and she went to South. She's the last one. We're empty nesters. But
That's
she
me this
did
year.
so many things. I mean, dance and all these DECA and all this, music and man, she was lovable and she was always on the field or in the basketball game. So she was constantly staying busy. And that's what Jeremiah did for the 4 years he was there. He was so busy all the time that he didn't have time to go mess around. Plus, he knew better.
Yeah.
Dad would have whipped his butt.
So, of course, the boxing scene is getting bigger. You see what
yeah.
Terrence and the boys are doing. You see the stage that they're bringing forth for the city. What does that mean for Victory Boxing? But also, what does that mean for Jeremiah Perales and your growth?
Well, honestly, man, Victory, ever since we started, we've never had a shortage of boxers. We've always had a waiting list. It's always been good. We have great relations with B&B. They support us. We support them. We go to their shows. They come to our shows. We have a big event this Saturday. In fact, Jeremiah is fighting on it, and they'll be there. They sponsored it. They got a table. And so, it's one of those deals. We're all in this fight together, man. You're on the north side. I'm on the south side. We need to help each other. We need to come and support each other in whatever capacity that is, And Bud, I've known him since he was a kid. I mean, I used to spar him when I was a pro. He was an amateur. And then he loves Jeremiah, man. Whenever they see each other out at Triple Threat, they're constantly hanging out and fooling around and wrestling and doing stupid stuff, but that's just Bud.
He's a child inside.
He really is, man. He's a people's champion, man. He's never one of those boxers that shies away from autographs or pictures or whatever. And he's even let Dominic, my nephew, and Jeremiah come stay with him for a week up there in his house, even before he went in the Army. It's so crazy. And then here 2 years later, he's right there in Fort Carson, Colorado Springs. So now they see each other all the time. It's crazy. But yeah, we have great relationships with those guys, man.
And Jeremiah, what do you feel like that's helped your career, or what do you feel like, is it making it where being able to represent Omaha means a little bit more because you're standing strong with a strong team? What is all that for you?
Yeah, Bud, man, he's putting it on, We all knew Bud, of course, obviously, but now that the world, sees him, it's boxing, and boxing itself is getting bigger. Having those big fights, and he's a part of the fighters who want those big fights, who's not scared of them. He's calling out these guys because he really truly believes he's the best, and he wants to fight the best. But putting on for Omaha, like at these national tournaments, before I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm from Nebraska. When they ask, they're like, where?
Gosh,
but now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from Nebraska. Like, oh, what part? Omaha? yeah. They're like, oh, so Bud? I'm like, yeah, I know Bud, yeah. But seeing Bud and his camp, when they come out to Colorado Springs, they train at the same gym we train at. So it's great because I love having, it's like family to me,
Yes.
Bud, Coach Saul,
I think
Bernie,
it goes back
all
to
them.
what you said, though, because you're saying sometimes you feel alone, but when that camp comes into town, it's right back to, and like your dad said, when B&B and Victory can work together, it feels like it's Victory, B&B, like it's all one. So you get them, they come out. Do you turn your training up during that time, or is it something that you're still kind of going through your own motion?
So, with WCAP, we got our team, we got our coaches, and we work alongside them sometimes. Sometimes we might get some good sparring in with some of their fighters, and we'll training the same time they're training, but we got our training regimen. They got theirs. You know, it just depends on if we're in camp, if they're in camp. You know, we might mix in a little bit. We'll get some mitts from one of the coaches and stuff like that. But they kind of do their thing. We do our thing. That's just, you know, it's different. You know, amateur boxing, you got 3 rounds. Professional boxing, you know, you got 10, 12 rounds. So, you know, the training is a little bit different.
So then when you say the amateur boxing, so you do it for the U.S. Army, what all does that coincide, or are you going up against other services in the area? Is it just USA? Is it explain the whole WCAP?
So the World Class Athlete Program, basically, it's just a program where soldier athletes can chase their dream of, you know, becoming the next Olympian, really. So this is the big year because Olympic trials is in December. So it gives us, you know, that if you hit the standards, you know, you're a good athlete at your sport. And then they have certain teams where you can be a soldier, but also you can focus on your sport with these top, you know, level coaches next to top level athletes. And you get to train it day in, day out. You know, of course you got to do your Army requirements and stay standard. But you really get to focus and train and compete at the national level. And we don't really just we don't fight just other forces. We fight, you know, the top elite fighters in the USA.
Okay.
So we're fighting guys, you know, from all over the country. And then eventually, you know, making Team USA, and then you can fight, you know, at the international level as well. So we got a couple people that go over to Olympic Training Center, train with them. We have one on the team as a team captain. So she gets to fight, you know, at the international level all the time, getting ready for the Olympics. So
okay. And so of course you have Golden Glove athletes that have came through your program. You see this, and now you see the level that he is. If I am a person trying to understand levels of like the Golden Gloves and the amateur athletes, where do those kind of fall amongst each other? Are you guys competing against each other in the long run, or is it where because of you're a little bit higher, or how does that all fall?
So the Golden Gloves is just a national tournament.
Okay.
But it's been a tournament that everyone hears about, everyone knows about. But the National Golden Gloves is a qualifying tournament for the Olympic trials this year. So if you made it to the top 2, then you're qualified for the Olympic trials. Just like the past few tournaments they had. The one just past weekend, you make it to the finals, you're qualified for the Olympic trials. So that's everyone's goal right now, is get qualified for Olympic trials. So yeah, that's how it kind of lines up.
So when you look at the coaching from Dad and you look at the coaching that you get there, how are you intermixing it? What are some things that you also come back, maybe talk to Pops about and say, hey, have we thought about this to help grow Victory? Because obviously the only way any program grows is with additions and being able to adapt to the way the boxing realm is going. Because like you said, more people are getting involved. It's starting to get that shooting that rocket back up. You've got to adapt with it. How does that go? How do those conversations? Is there anything you brought back home?
We're gonna find out tonight because this is the first time he's sparring after we leave here. We're coming. He's gonna show. We're gonna have at least 5 or 6 kids lined up, you know, ready to go. They're excited. They want to get in the ring with Jeremiah, and he's gonna talk to them, work with them after and before, and you know, anytime change happens, it stretches you, obviously, but it's good. It's good for the program. So there's a lot of things that he can definitely bring to the table.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from my coaches, from my teammates, from, you know, just people that come through the boxing world. You learn a lot of different techniques, a lot of different styles, and I love giving back. I love, you know, telling other people, because if it helps me, you know, it might help you. Or if it doesn't help me, I mean, it could still help you. So
yeah, it can help you just see just from the other eyes and get a different perception. So you said when you were growing up, boxing was there, but it wasn't fully there. What turned on your key, and especially while you were doing the Army, to say this is what I wanted to go for?
Honestly, my favorite sport was football. I always saw myself, playing college football.
And you could have been their quarterback. I mean, they run, right? They run, or you could have been the safety coming down, laying the wood.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than a Jeremiah Perales playing safety and not getting trucked. Don't get me wrong. I saw you get trucked, but 95% of the time you were coming down to lay the wood. I mean, so it isn't like you didn't have that opportunity, maybe as a walk-on or something through the Army. What took you to boxing, though, on that?
I mean, realistically, I'm short, like 5'6".
5'6.5" if you want his real shoe size.
yeah. So I'm I don't know. Realistically, I just knew boxing. I had a lot of skill, and I know I was kind of seasonal with it. But I knew if I took it serious, I could do a lot with the sport. So, I just really wanted to focus on that, and also I wanted to have a career. Married right after, or I was with Nayeli for almost 4 years throughout high school.
Yeah.
So like I knew, hey, I have a lot of responsibility right here. This is where I gotta do something with my life to one, take care of myself, but also her. So military, that first and foremost, I'm gonna be stable. I'm gonna have these benefits, but I'm gonna try to make this boxing team, and they have one. It has great success. So then I can really focus on it as well. So that's when I was like, what, I'm gonna take this serious. But honestly, it was hard because joining the military, got stationed at Fort Carson, and then COVID hit, and then there was no boxing tournaments. Gyms
Say that louder. No boxing tournaments.
Yeah, no.
So everything you went in this for,
exactly,
you were finding is obsolete, or at the moment, anyways.
And it was very easy to get complacent. I'm by myself, or me and my wife. We're in Colorado Springs, and there's no one to push you. I don't got dad. Hey, you coming to the gym today? And then there was no gym at one point. So.
Right.
Well, even for Dad, I mean, what was that like when he decided he was going to make it for the boxing and give up his football? Obviously there is some joy, but it's still surreal, right?
Wrestle too, because he's so talented on the mat too, but he injured his back going into high school after, he went undefeated.
That was probably the worst that I saw was him and when it came to his back going through high school.
I said, no, don't do that. Then it's going to make it worse. I know his coach was pretty upset because he was his junior high coach and he went undefeated his junior high year, 7th and 8th grade in wrestling. So he could have, in the Army, he could have chosen that as well and been very successful, I believe. Also just too short to play football probably, but boxing is perfect right there, so, but what was the question?
No, you're good. My thing was, do you even remember him telling you that was the decision he was going with?
Well,
with
we
boxing?
talked him out of, he wanted to go infantry at first,
Okay.
And so we talked him out of it and we just said, a lot of people don't come back the same. If they get shipped off to war, and we didn't want that for Jeremiah. We love Jeremiah just the way you are. That's exact words that we said. And we don't want you to come home any different, distant from us, or unfortunately, a lot of suicides. Just a lot of things that occur from people going to war. And so I said, just try to go out for the team, man. Go out for the team. You'll make it. But yeah, you're right. I think he was working a warehouse job because COVID. He was there, he was working, and we went out to see him regardless. And I was just be patient, man. Just be patient. You're gonna make the team. And sure enough, once COVID lifted, man, he went to a tournament with them. He wasn't even on the team yet. They didn't even have the team. And he won, he made it to semifinals and instantly punched his ticket for the Army
and he's
team.
like, I got it.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm
his
finding
coaches
that
were
love.
like, yeah, he's on the team. So
and Jeremiah, do you remember those talks with mom and dad about like infantry? And like some people are so afraid to, I said it when I was on live radio, like there's not enough support for what people have to go through. And especially those who serve our country. Like there's nothing worse to know that the support isn't there. I don't have to shy away from anything. I don't have to hide anything, but to have your parents know and feel that, what was that like? Do you remember those moments at all from going from that thought of wanting to do infantry to, all right, they're changing my mind?
Yeah. Cause I wanted to, join. I wanted to kind of get deployed. I kind of wanted to like really, really serve, Like I wanted to be all the high speed stuff, the airborne ranger, all the, fancy schools or whatever. But they talked me out of it. They were like, you don't have to do that. Like you said, they said they wanted me to be who I was. They don't want me to change, I guess. They don't want no harm, nothing like that. So, I took a supply job, logistics.
Yeah.
That's what I did for the Army for my first 2 years. But I don't know. It was just, they made me, just realize, you got all this family, you got all this and that, and you don't have to go out there and fight, whatever war if it came to that.
Yeah.
But I was ready for it. I don't know why. I guess I was just ready for it.
It's one of those things that are so real that it's either you want to or you don't. I don't think there's you can't go halfway into it mentally, anyways.
Right.
But I think that's how it is. Me, I was an Air Force brat. I didn't want to go through the moving like my dad put us through. Of course, I had kids when I was in high school, so I knew I had to get my stuff right. That just wasn't my route. But to know that you wanted to serve, you got there. Now you're able to take a passion that has been in the family for years, show, and then come back to Victory Boxing. What is that like to be able to come back and show these kids that you're not stuck? You're not only for Omaha. And that's what I love about this show is I'm taking Nebraska youth, coaches, whatever, whether they play for Nebraska or not, it doesn't matter. If you can get out of here and you find your track, and that's the bad part is a lot of them, when they do leave here, they get forgotten from here. And my goal is to make sure that we don't forget, because these kids have to know that there's a way out. His story has to be a big inspiration to Victory Boxing to pass down to these kids. Jeremiah, what's it like when you come back to see these kids? And obviously you've seen some of these kids probably when they were your age, when you first picked up that bag or first touched those gloves.
Yeah, I absolutely love coming back to the gym. I'm very excited to go to the gym after this, actually, to get some sparring in. But yeah, like you said, like some people, they can grow from here in Omaha, and some people it's just easier for them to grow if they move out of state, or maybe their sport it takes them somewhere else. But I can honestly say I have a lot of support in Omaha. At least when I'm at these national tournaments, when I'm live streamed, like when the fights are live streamed, people tune in, people reach out, people are still watching, and I appreciate that a lot, because I do love my city. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am without Omaha, without the 402. So like, I'm proud to say I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I went to Omaha South. I'm proud to say, like, yeah, I'm from that Cornhusker state.
Yes,
No, we don't only got cornfields, bro. That's all they think. But no, Omaha's a big city, and we support each other. And I really appreciate all the support and love that I get from everybody. I just want to keep growing, obviously to the highest level, like Terrence Crawford one day.
Yeah. And of course, he's in his 30s. You're in your 20s, so there's lots of growth. Do you see any similarities through the routes that they have went, or any of the same struggles that you remember, Servando, that you can remember? Because I mean, Terrence had a lot that he had to fight for without anybody knowing his name or who he was.
Most definitely, Jeremiah, like I said, thank God that he was in the environment, but he was not in it. He lived in it, but he's not in it. So he didn't get involved. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So, for me, I just thank God that he never got involved in the drug scene and the party scene and the, getting shot at scene. I mean, just, like Bud, obviously he's a miracle in itself, but yeah, the kids at the club, they're just very inspired by Jeremiah. For me, anytime you can make it out and you can come back and you can give back, I love that. Because we've lost kids along the way, we've lost 3 or 4 kids to drug overdoses or to suicide, and in the 18 years that we've existed. But then there's those others that come back with college degrees or come back from overseas serving in the military, or our nephew who's a boxer, he just made the SWAT police team, and so he's on the SWAT
Is Johnny
and
still boxing?
yeah, oh yeah, Johnny's there. He was there today
Okay,
sparring. So yeah,
okay.
he was there sparring
See,
today.
and that's where I
Yeah.
started picking up, was where these two were starting to get out of the high school realms and
Yeah.
starting to
Yeah.
be on the Golden Glove scene. And what is that like to have someone that you can go up with and know that their heart is right where yours is, of trying to push each other?
Yeah, me and Johnny, we've been boys since young. I mean, we started playing basketball together, and then he started to get into boxing. And we've always been tight. And for us to go to these national tournaments together, the only two represented in Nebraska, everyone else from these big states, from these big gyms, we're just two small town kids, but we're doing our thing. We're at all these national tournaments, making it to that level, winning some fights. And even to this day, like, he'll come out and train sometimes in Colorado Springs, and it's good seeing him out there, just like it is seeing Bud and everybody. But also at the national tournament, at the national level, even though I'm representing Colorado Springs, at like, that's just what's under my name, we're still two kids from Omaha. We're still supporting each other.
That's right.
I get the opportunity to sit in his corner sometimes during his fights. Like, his dad will be his coach, and I'll get to help coach with them too. So, like, it's good. We get to support each other. We get to push each other. I'm glad to see him still, doing his thing in Omaha, because I chose a different route. I went, outside, but I'm still trying to represent Omaha, of course, but he stayed here and he's doing his thing here. And, I love that for him.
Well, of course, like you said, you've been with your wife since high school. What does that impact have on you and your future, and how that support maybe makes some of the things that you have to go through life easier, because you aren't alone? You have someone that is going through the sacrifices, going through maybe not as much, I don't want to foreshadow. I mean, saying that you're in the Army and you're willing to take the ultimate sacrifice, that's a whole different level. But she's willing to support anything that you're going through and how it goes. How's that been to help you be Jeremiah who you are today?
Yeah, she's there for me. I mean, it's hard. She was real close with her family as well. She's very family oriented. So just, we got each other. She goes to work, I go to work, we come back, and just me and her. Sometimes she gets tired of me when it's just me and her, obviously. but yeah, she's always been there. She's always supported me and pushed me. And we used to live on base, and now we live off base now, which we like more. But she's been there every step of the way.
Do you feel like she has is there a good support staff, like amongst other Army wives, or just people she can talk to, or does she have anybody besides back at home? Because that's always hard to make that connection, because unless it's your coworkers, I mean, it could be some of her coworkers that keep her on the chippy side.
Yeah, so it took a while. She's not as outgoing as I am.
Yeah,
I can make friends pretty easily. She's come more quiet, but we did make a good amount of friends throughout the military. Like, I had coworkers who had friends or whatever. But that's the thing in the Army. Every couple of years, everyone's getting shipped off to somewhere else. So we did have a good, tight friend group, and then everyone left. So we're kind of starting over again. But she does work at a middle school now. It's her second year at the middle school. So she's made some, good friends, coworkers, which is good.
I think the best part about your story, obviously, I'm a high school sweetheart with my wife. We've been together going on 25 years. So, I mean, like, those things just don't happen. But what you're experiencing is, one, you got to do the high school part, but you also got to do the career part, to where you went to the Army. Now she's being a teacher. You guys are both seeing your careers grow. Is it comfortable to say, or do you feel like staying away from Omaha is almost where you guys feel the comfort to continue your work ethic part of it and be yourself, and then you come back and visit and everything's good? Or is a goal to come back home and maybe even take over a family business sometime, or be a leader, one of the coaches? What's some of the goals and ambitions? Have you and the wife talked about something that big?
Yeah, we definitely talk about stuff like that because so like just
Probably misses her family, I'm sure.
yeah, she enjoys living in Colorado Springs, so we both enjoy it. We think we found home to it.
Yeah.
Even though it's away from everybody, which sucks. It's hard being away from family, but it's only an 8-hour drive,
Yeah.
and we have family to come out to visit pretty often, which is nice. But I could see us staying there, and for my career, if I want to go pro, possibly, Colorado Springs is the best place to be. You're at the high altitude. People show up for training camp there.
Yeah.
Why live there?
Why exactly?
So
you already got the house.
Exactly. So for my career, I could see myself staying there. Maybe later on, moving back to Omaha when I have kids. This is something I was just talking about with my buddy last night, actually. The only time I would see myself moving back would be when my kids are going to school, because I don't know. I just feel like I loved knowing like, oh, my parents were here.
Yeah.
Family, friends, we kind of know everybody,
Yeah.
working at the school and stuff like that. I would feel like I'm robbing them of that. So I could see maybe later on down the line, but as of right now, I like Colorado Springs. It has a lot to offer for me. Got a lot of support out there now with my teammates and my coaches and the community out there. So I think we're pretty good at going to stay there.
So what is the next steps? What's coming up for you, and where can people watch?
So first, I'll be fighting this weekend in Omaha, my dad's show. You got the address to that? We'll get that out there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
3009 R Street at Victory Boxing.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a show. I'm excited to fight in Omaha. I haven't fought in Omaha since I believe 2019 at the Golden Gloves. So it'd be a real great thing to fight in Omaha again. But at that next level, I would just say applying for this wild card. So I did not get qualified for the Olympic trials. I wish I would have. I tried. I did what I had to do. It just fell short. But I'm confident I can get this wild card. Basically, there's a couple wild cards for each weight class, and I'm pretty confident. I think I can get it, and then hopefully I'll be at the Olympic trials in December, and that's the big tournament.
Where's that at?
That's in I believe Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay.
So, my team, everyone's qualified on my team. We have, I think, 9 people, and they're all qualified, or 8. Yeah, 8 of them qualified. So myself, I was the only one who wasn't qualified. Just my weight class is a tough weight class.
126, right?
125.
125.
It's always stacked. It's always got some of the high level fighters.
Shakur Stevens' cousin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shakur was there in the
That's the guy
corner.
who I just fought. But
Oh my gosh.
but I still got hope for getting that wild card, and then hopefully I'll be at the Olympic trials as well with my team. So I'm ready to shake things up.
Okay.
I'm good at being an underdog sometimes.
Hey, that's what makes the bite better every time. Of course, Victory Boxing Club and Community Center, will say that again, not just a boxing place, but a community center for kids to come learn, be better for who they are. What's some things that they can see coming up, obviously, this weekend? How often do you guys do those tournaments? Or
we only really host about 3 shows a year. So we do the Cinco de Mayo show. We do this big memorial showdown for a boxer we lost around 7 years ago. And he was very talented. He was like a son. And he was 9-1 was his record. And he was on his way, but he got addicted to opiates. And so we lost him, and just went out drinking one night, didn't wake up. And so every year we honor him by doing this, but we also put a spotlight on the opiate crisis, if you will. And we've thus far raised over $15,000 for his daughter that was born after he passed. So he never had a chance to meet her.
Man,
Big event, huge event. And yeah, so half the proceeds go to his daughter and it goes into a college trust fund. So
man, that is
Yeah.
so amazing to be able to not only give back to the community in general, but when you're able to also give back to one of your own, that, like you said, there's an addiction out there. There's a problem. There's no support. You know, pain meds are a big issue. And that's like, people don't understand, because I always say when they want to offer me something to take, whether it's pain or even just for a nose or anything, they're like, how come you don't take pills? And I'm like, I can't see myself constantly relying on something like that. And if you don't know how your body reacts,
right,
don't be afraid to ask for help, ask for support. They're out there. So I'll get you guys out of here on this last question. Obviously the parade in Omaha was huge for boxing in general. It was well past due though. Now that you're seeing it, you guys obviously led the way as well with Victory Boxing. We were there on the corner as you guys were pulling off. That was something cool on our side. I didn't go down to the full experience, but what do you think of the experience? What do you think of Omaha supporting that for the parade, and what do you hope to see in the future for it?
Well, basically, like you said, it was long overdue. He should have gotten that recognition a long time ago. I believe he did get the key to the city though.
Yes.
So yeah, but no, he's in our eyes, because we've known him. I've sparred him. I knew he was great even as an amateur. He was going to do great things, and we go to all his. Literally, we have missed maybe 2 or 3 of his pro fights because they were overseas or something, but. Victory Boxing, when he fights, we're going. I don't care. We might drive the van, 12-passenger van. We're going to drive into Vegas.
Yeah,
We've
don't be
driven
afraid to look for
Texas,
that victory
but
van. It's out there.
We're going to be
out
there because we love him. We support him, and vice versa. And man, the city as a whole finally is acknowledging that, man, we have a special, fighter here.
And I hope from our side, obviously we're just the sports people that watch from the outside looking in, but I hope everything was sincere, and the giving of the dollar for the land by his B&B.
Yeah.
Like, from us on the outside looking in, because it has taken so long, we just hope it's sincere.
Yeah.
We hope that it's all in the right way. We know where your guys' heart is. We know where B&B's heart is. We know it's real and legit.
Yeah.
But I just hope the city engulfed it as legit. Jeremiah, obviously coming back to boxing and seeing all these things happen. What's the thoughts of like the parade, and do you see one day? I mean, that's your ultimate goal, is to be that guy on the side of maybe Victory Boxing building that's up there in a mural in one way or another, just giving back.
Yeah, the parade was definitely well deserved, and like that recognition that he's getting now, I feel like it could have been given to him, many years ago, because he's been doing this. He's been putting on for the city, and it was like his first title defense. He brought back the show to here. He brought it back to Omaha. He's been bringing fights to Omaha, to Lincoln. He's been giving back. And Omaha and Lincoln's not the biggest places to be having those top tier fights. But he just did it because he loves where he grew up and where he came from. So I'm sorry, what was the second part you said?
The second part was just, what do you see for Jeremiah Perales, and if you get this opportunity for the US, and if you get the opportunity to get to that professional level, what all do you see in the works for you? What do you feel? Is there any paths that you're kind of watching to help guide you in that? Who's the main path guider for that?
Obviously Terrence Crawford, following his footsteps. He's always, just been so focused. I get to see him, watch him train, and he works harder than anybody. He's so competitive with everything he does.
I've watched him on a basketball court, and he's not great at basketball, but he's great at the competitiveness in the game.
I've played some ping pong with him. Man,
Play him in chess.
wrestled with him. Pac-Man. I'm telling you, this man is competitive, very competitive. But that's just him, wanting to be great, and that's what I want to be. I want to be great. If I do choose to go pro, which I am, I've been thinking about it. We'll see. We'll announce that when time is right. But yeah, I just want to be the best I can be, and I want to, obviously give back as much as possible. Later on when I'm go pro and make some money and get more stuff like that, and then I can give back more, I would say.
If you looked at what you do
Mhm.
and who you are when it comes to the boxing, where does that all come from, and who's like your number one boxer that you looked up to growing up? That wouldn't be someone from around here. Is there anybody? Is there anybody that drove a little bit of your want to? Like for me, I enjoyed watching B-Hop. Like I enjoyed, I didn't enjoy watching Mayweather. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't hate the guy. I just didn't enjoy watching him do what he did because it wasn't the style that I liked. You know what I'm saying?
Manny Pacquiao has always been like my favorite, just because he lets his hands talk. He's so humble. He gives back so much.
And he's Filipino.
Yeah, he's Filipino.
He's Filipino.
Yeah, but just he lets his hands talk. He's always been so humble, such a nice guy. But at the same time, when he gets in the ring, he's gonna put them things on you.
That's right.
And then, but like now, I do love watching Bud because he's such a a thinker, a technical guy, and me, that's who I relate to, because boxing is an art. It's not just throwing your hands and landing the big shots. Like there's a lot of thinking.
I personally like when you can do something you're not comfortable with as a challenge, like when he went southpaw that time and did it on purpose. And like that, to me, I'm not I don't know all the boxing terms, but that there told me what type of person he was. Anybody can get in the ring and do the same thing over and over, but if you can switch what you do and do it with character.
Yeah.
It wasn't a joke. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people will clown you by trying to act or do what you're doing, instead of his was to learn the technique and then use that technique against you. Like that's lethal, man. Well, I appreciate, one, what you did joining the Army. That to me, that means more than you know. It's an honor to have you on the show. Former Omaha South alumni, one of my old football players, Corporal Servando Perales. Man, boxing at the next level, amateur level, hopefully getting those U.S. trials and getting in there with that wild card. And if you have nothing this weekend, we'll make sure that we get that word out over at Victory Boxing. I appreciate his dad joining us as well. Once again, this is Wired Axcess Podcast. I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha, and that's another Hurrdat Sports production. Thank you.